first? Who's up who? The guy up first. Who? The guy first base. Who? The guy first. Who is on first? What are you asking me for? I'm asking you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Who is on First. I'm Tim Ellerbrook, your host, and I'm with my good friends Brian and Michael. If you could do us a favor before we get started, make sure to send us a follow on at WOFBB Podcast on YouTube, Twitter. Leave us some comments. That would be awesome. Before we jump in, how you doing, fellas?
Good, man. It's a hot time of the year. Let's go. I'm not outside and for baseball both. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm much better this week than I was last week. I feel a little more coherent.
Yeah, I can imagine
being involved now. But
For real.
But as you said, I mean, this is exciting time. You know, Tim, you and I were talking this morning. This is the first time since like 2021 that the trade deadline could really see some big action because sellers are in the driver's seat because there are a lot of teams that are buying, which means there's going to be like that battle. So some of these teams that are sellers could really rake in some benefits here. So exciting times, lots happening in the game of baseball.
As you could tell, today is the trade deadline episode. We're going to throw our trade deadline predictions. So if you want to throw them in now, throw them in the comments what you think is going to happen, or after the episode's over, let us know if you think that's impossible. Before we get started, though, Michael has a shout out for this week.
Gonna shout out. I told the guys anytime something historic happens during the week, we got to call it out, and that was Nick Kurtz, the rookie, with an unbelievable game. 6 for 6, 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 19 total bases. And he was inches from hitting a 5th home run in the game, which would have put him at the top of the top, something we've never seen. So, that was an unbelievable game. And the A's, we kind of talked about it early in the year. Watch out. They've got some young pieces that may be fun to watch throughout the year. Nick Kurtz is flying up that list.
100%.
It was ridiculous. The one thing I took away from the whole series is just the Athletics sweeping the Astros, the best team in the AL, which is obviously not no more. But baseball's a weird sport. But Nick Kurtz is. It was
the big young guys, that are coming through. Lawrence Butler hit a monster shot too. And so if you get a bit of a couple-headed monster there with Butler, with Kurtz, maybe Rooker, a couple of these other guys. I mean, they're going to have some serious power in this lineup.
Yeah.
The only problem I see is who do they have to get rid of to get some pitching as they go into Vegas. But this is definitely a team. I mean, I don't have them on my list today as immense sellers. I think they will move pieces.
Agreed.
But I don't think some of their big young guys are going anywhere because they're setting up to make a statement in that first year in Vegas.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at Vegas. Could you imagine, 2 better players? You get kind of a Bash Bros situation with Kurtz and Butler potentially, or Rooker, one of those guys.
I was going to say,
oh my goodness,
Rooker,
that's going to be absolutely ridiculous, and Vegas is going to be a hot place to be.
What if this whole time, what's his name, knew exactly what he was doing this whole time?
Yeah, moving him out of Oakland.
I don't think he has any clue. I think he is lucked into a lot of things right now.
I think Billy Bean's probably got something to do with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking at Kurtz's page. He had a 93 single, 108 mile per hour home run, 104 mile per hour double, 99 home run, and then what was the last one? 113.8.
See, the funny thing for me is I've said for a long time, anytime I see a guy put up 3 home runs in a game and, you're sitting in the 5th or 6th inning, I don't throw to that guy again. He's clearly having a game. You just don't pitch to him the next time he comes up. You pitch around him. Don't give him a shot to get to that 4th home run.
I think the only
fourth
benefit
one was the position player, right? It was Christian Walker.
Yeah, but I think the benefit to that is it was a blowout. So
correct.
They're just
correct.
Hey, we're having fun at this point. Let's just throw some things out there.
And the last home run was an opposite field home run.
To left field. Yeah, the Crawford boxes.
Walker threw the ball outside of the strike zone and just lofted and he got this in there.
Well, and, kind of to add on to this is only the 3rd time in history that we've seen 2 players in the same season hit 4 home runs in a game.
Really?
Because Suarez did it as well.
Yes.
He had a 4?
Yeah.
Wow.
Earlier in the year. So,
I didn't know.
I mean,
That's pretty.
A lot of offense, man.
And
It's
they
fun.
say pitching's getting better.
Well, except for select games.
Like
Or
the
if you're a
Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinal.
Yeah, if you're a St. Louis Cardinal. That's fact.
That goes out the window.
That is a fact. Sad times in St. Louis here. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. So let me set up. We're just going to do some trade deadline predictions. The deadline is Thursday this week on the 30th. 31st.
Yeah, and I
31st.
found out they dropped so it's 6 p.m. Eastern.
5 p.m.
5 Central is the deadline.
Yeah.
So all trades have to be in by that point. Again, they'll
Yep.
be announced later,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
because they're going to get a barrage of them that they have to wait and approve. But as
Yeah.
long as they're in by 6 p.m. Eastern,
Correct.
they're good to go.
Yeah, so media will be on it until midnight and to Friday, to be honest with you. But before we get started, I'm going to throw some ones that are out there because trades have started to happen, which is normal, but the gravity of what's happened is a little hot in my opinion. So the Yankees have picked up 2 players, Ryan McMahon from Colorado, who's a highly elite defensive third baseman, lefty bat. And they've also picked up Ahmed Rosario from Washington, right?
Yep.
Who is a utility infielder who's having a pretty decent season.
Yep.
They pretty much tried to get a righty-lefty split to play. I'm assuming that's what they're going to do. We don't know
Yeah,
yet,
they're going to put them
obviously.
at both of them will probably play third base quite a bit, just depending on who they're facing.
Props to Cashman for fixing his defense.
Well,
Allegedly.
I was going to say, let's wait.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
That's
Although there was a play that he made that Yankee fans were freaking out on social media, like, "Oh my gosh,
He's
that's
so
what it looks
good."
like to
Right.
have a third baseman play." The other big one, in my opinion, was Josh Naylor from the Diamondbacks, sent to Seattle, first baseman. And then a small one is Randall Grichuk from Arizona, went to the Kansas City Royals. He's an outfielder. That will probably be a fourth one, or do you think there'll be a starter?
I mean, with some of the struggles that Caglione has had here recently, I think that they're looking for Grichuk maybe to play a little bit more than he sits, but it'll definitely be platoon-ish because he's not going to play every day.
No, unless you see him get hot. And,
Right.
Like a Suarez, obviously not the power type of thing, but that type of thing where you just see him go on a 3 or 4 week run. And you're like, you got to play that guy. It doesn't matter. Like,
Absolutely. You play the hot hand.
Yeah,
correct,
and
for
it'll
sure.
be very similar to what we talked about. It gives them a righty-lefty split kind of out there in the outfield, and they need some help out there.
Yeah, and like you said, it's low cost. So
Kansas City's in a weird spot because they made an aggressive move and they're behind. Before we get started, also, I'm going to throw out what the standings are. And so in the AL, the Blue Jays are leading the East, Tigers are leading the Central, and the Astros are leading the West. The wild card right now is sitting with the Yankees at 57 wins, Boston at 57. They are a half game back of the Yankees. The Mariners sitting at 56, and the Rangers tied at 56 and 50 with the Mariners. So Tampa Bay Rays are 3 games back in the wild card. The Guardians are 3.5. Royals are 4. Angels are 5. Twins are 5.5. And then guaranteed sellers of the Orioles, Athletics, and White Sox.
Are you sure about that?
I would think so, but some people are weird. Quickly to the NL, and then we'll get started. The Cubs and Brewers are tied. Big weekend. Our big series coming up, actually.
yeah,
Yes,
big
it is.
series. coming.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Is it in Chicago or in Milwaukee?
This one's up in Milwaukee, I
Okay.
believe.
Cubs and Brewers are tied at 62 and 43, and they have a series, so someone's taking the lead. Then the Mets are leading the East at 61-44, and the Dodgers are leading the West at 61-45. Wild card is sitting with the Brewers and the Cubs tied, so one will be in the wild card, one will be in the division. Phillies at 60-45, the Padres at 57-49. Below the wild card, we got the Reds at 56 and 50 with 1 game behind. The Giants 2.5 behind. The Cardinals at 3.5, and the Diamondbacks at 6. So realistically, right now, it's just the Reds, Giants, and Cardinals-ish.
Maybe.
Ish.
Maybe ish.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think ish is appropriate. All right.
Right.
All right. Let's jump in. So I'm gonna throw a trade out to you guys. We'll kind of dissect it, then we'll figure out what we're gonna do next. So I have Suarez
Good name to
We'll
start with.
start with
first.
Suarez because
Big
he's a
one.
big number. So Suarez is a third baseman for the Diamondbacks. I have him going to the Reds.
Okay.
I think this is the year the Reds have to do something. And familiar name, been there
Yep.
before?
Yeah, I just don't like it because it's a rental,
Yeah.
and I don't see the Reds re-signing him long term.
Oh,
Most
I
likely
completely
not.
agree.
I mean, they're hot. I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean,
Tito?
I've said it a couple times. Like, there's blood in the water in the National League. Like the Dodgers, as much as Ohtani is doing, like something's wrong with Mookie, and they can't seem to get that
Yep.
figured out. Freddie's had a couple injuries this year. Muncy's hurt. Like
Freddie's a little up and down, too.
Some of these outfielders, like they're not producing. San Diego, as we've all talked, is kind of a who knows what. So I mean, the blood's in the water. If Cincinnati wants to make a splash and make a run, I mean, look what Milwaukee just did. They took like an 11-game, back basically, and have caught Chicago. So Cincinnati, I mean, if they get aggressive, sure, but I'm with you, Brian. Like that's going to be a big move for Cincinnati to make.
So the piece that I'm imagining is like 25 to 30 prospect in the Red system. Doesn't cost very much at all. Maybe one or two because I think the Diamondbacks are going to try and get a lot. But
Yeah.
I think that the Reds aren't going to spend very much. They're going to get a familiar face. Hey, let's see what happens. Can this team actually do anything or not?
Yeah, I just think the driving price is going to be driven up by some of these other teams.
Fair.
Obviously, the Yankees are seemingly out on Suarez with the move for McMahon
Yep.
and Rosario, which kind of eliminates one
The
team.
question is, are they though?
I think they are, but it opens the door for a lot of other teams too. Like, I mean, you're talking, the Astros are now engaged. Now, again, they're a team that I don't think has the pieces to be able to pull this kind of move off. But then you start looking around the league, like, is this a splash that Chicago decides to make because because of what the Brewers just did? Like, they need to have an answer of some sort. I know Shaw's played well as of late, so maybe that squelches that. I mean, you've got some other teams. For me, I think Suarez is going to end up, and this will be the shocker, is I think he's going to go play in Detroit because Detroit needs this to kind of push them over the top and make them legitimate. They're struggling right now, so I feel like they're feeling the pressure.
Agreed.
And are going to make a big move here, and this is going to be the way that they kind of sell it.
Yeah.
Let's go get a big bat to help out this stat.
That probably honestly would be a great spot for Arizona to be calling right now because
'cause their
we're
system.
watching Toronto go, hey, look, we're on fire right now, and Detroit's the exact opposite. And
Right.
I could see them panic buying for sure because, I mean, they were by far the best team in baseball, no question. And we were sitting here not even just a couple of weeks ago going, maybe they grab an arm, maybe, but they're
Right.
pretty good, sitting pretty. Now we're sitting here like they definitely probably need some bats. They've been struggling to score in general. So Suarez, I could see that.
I have in general, the Tigers mostly standing pat because their team is that good. And every team has look at the Brewers at the top of the season, then all of a sudden, oh shoot, they're one of the best teams in the National League.
Yeah.
I feel like the Tigers are eventually going to be fine, and they have that much of a cushion that they created that they're still leading the Central.
Well,
by
but it's 4 games now versus
because you're watching
That's-
Kansas City and Cleveland both have caught fire as
Right.
Detroit has just been plummeting.
I mean, I'm not saying they're still not going to win I think they're going to win the division. I still
Right.
think on paper, and you look at what they have, Detroit's the best team in the AL when you look up and down, and if they get back to performing like they were performing early on.
Yeah.
But for them, I think there's really 2 simple moves. I don't think they're going to be big like buyers in this. I think if they can find a way to get Suarez, they may, if they miss on him, I still think they could swing at somebody else to bring into that spot that may not cost nearly the same price tag.
Yep.
And I still think they're going to go after another starting pitching. I don't think
agree.
it'll be a top end starter. I think it's going to be one of those middling guys that just helps them eat some innings.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the pressure's not on Skubal and some of the others.
My argument there is they got to where they are last year with just a starter and a half, essentially, because they traded Flaherty out, and they might do the same thing.
Right,
They could
right,
for sure
right.
do the same thing. but Scuba will carry them. Now, could they have gotten farther if they did have more?
Right.
Totally. And I think they did have more, but they're all injured. So I'm just curious from the Tigers' perspective and office perspective, like, do I really want to spend these assets that are supposed to be a big deal to get something when, okay, hey, guys, we're just too injured, kind of like the Astros, in my opinion, or even the Dodgers somewhat. Hey, all right, we're just too injured, guys. It's not worth it.
Yeah. It's interesting. We're going to see how willing they are to hold to this has been working. You know, Suarez, I love it. I mean, Detroit, I think if there's been a year that I looked at them as serious contenders to win the World Series, it was this year.
Yep. 100%.
Skubal is probably going to win the Cy Young again. Like, the guy is as dominant of a pitcher as you can ask
and
for.
he was dominant in the postseason last
correct.
year, too. Except for one game.
You've got very solid young players out there, plus some veterans. I mean, you've got it kind of all. Javier Baez, obviously we've already talked about him. And
that was like a signing, too, because he was junk
correct
last year.
So, I mean, all signs point to this is it. But
it's a start.
I mean, I don't know. It's going to be costly. But maybe you can get him to sign on for another 2 years, and then all of a sudden that offense looks a lot better, for a couple of years. And when they're really opening up that window and letting a couple other young guys really get going down there in the minors before they bring him up.
And, I mean, going back to your original point too, Tim, maybe the cost isn't going to be as high for someone like Suarez because it is just a rental at this point. You're not guaranteed anything unless you can work out some sort of trade and sign, which wouldn't be advantageous for Suarez. He needs to play this year out and just go into the offseason as a free agent because that's where he's going to get his contract.
And I don't think we can really talk about how much of an impact the Yankees grabbing McMahon will make on Suarez. Is like the teams knowing that the Yankees were there was going to cause their packages to have to get bigger. And Arizona knew that their packages were going to have to get bigger just because they knew how desperate the Yankees were to get him. And so some of these other teams that were kind of there in the dogfight and stuff may have thrown in an extra prospect of Pete Crow Armstrong that they didn't want to throw into a deal, type of thing. But they ended up doing it because of it, and then down the road they end up regretting it. But I think the Yankees backing out of it, really, Suarez is definitely not going to be as expensive.
So one thing for me, I don't know that the Yankees are out on Suarez, to be honest with you.
I mean,
so the only thing, McMahon's not going to be released because he's got control left.
Yeah.
But Rosario can be released, sent, benched, whatever.
Yeah.
And they have, it's not, Cabrera is the one that's hurt. I forgot the other player. They could send him back down, get rid of him. They're not going to bat an eye at that.
Yeah.
They could still make room for him. If they were, we need
I
a
agree,
bat.
but I don't think they have the prospect pull because I don't think they want to get rid of Jones or
Fair.
Yep.
And I
But
think
they also hate their prospects. Like, they don't care about them.
but what Jones is doing in AAA for him right now, like, he is making it extremely difficult in that regard. And I think they just saw that. And I think, obviously, I mean, hindsight now, Judge going down changes the dynamic of that.
Huge.
And so I think, depending on what the outlook, I know they said they want him to kind of, just DH for a little bit when he gets back. As much as they're saying, Stanton's going to go back out to the field, and we all know how much of a joke that is going to be, right? Like, you think Juan Soto is bad.
I sent you guys that
mean,
meme, right?
Yeah.
The guy running down the hallway.
That's why I think, like, I look at, like, this rumor that's starting to surface, like a Harrison Bader to New York.
Yeah.
Like, I think that injury in and of itself pivots them away from someone like Suarez, who I think they would love to have, but I think it pulls them away because now they've got a really primary need in the outfield that they're going to have to settle, and they're going to have to find a way to give up some pieces to get that may undercut another deal in the Suarez sweepstakes.
Well, and we were already watching the Yankees tank hard before Judge goes down hurt
because of their defense.
So you're taking a team that had led their division, I think, by like 11 games. They're now 5.5 games back in that division. Your best player just got hurt, who is currently the MVP frontrunner.
Right.
I mean, to me, they're really falling out. And McMahon, to me, gives them a shot to get in the wild card still because it improves their defense enough to, maybe some of the hitters. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're going to have to throw out Stanton out there in the outfield for long stretches, like –
I mean, we thought Marcell Ozuna climbing a wall in St. Louis was bad. Just wait.
You're going to be asking
He's going to be
Grisham
using a walker out there to get to the
– You're going to be asking
the thing
Grisham
is,
and
I feel like
Bellinger
with
to
teams,
cover
you
everything.
can have 2, maybe 3 elite defensive specialists on a team as long as you have enough offensive aircraft carriers. And the Yankees had that last year.
Yep.
They had enough offense. They're just atrocious fundamentally. And Cashman's credit, he's trying to fix it. So it could end up just working the same. And you only need Stanton healthy and Judge healthy when you get to October. The Yankees are going to have enough wins.
But you're going to have to get there, and there's plenty of other teams fighting for those wild card spots at this point.
So who do you have Suarez going to?
I had Suarez still. I have him landing in Seattle. I still think
a reunion there too.
There's a reunion there in Seattle.
That would be the dream case scenario for Arizona.
Kind of a same thing. You're watching a couple of these teams in the AL start to falter. Seattle, it may not cost as much now, like I said, to get him. Plus, you've already traded for Naylor, so maybe you just add upon that package. Those two get along. They hit well together. Put that punch, around the dumper. I mean, that's a lethal group there. So I think it's Seattle, but we'll see what they do. As we've seen over the years, they're hesitant to move some pitchers. Arizona definitely is going to want pitching, would be my assumption.
Yep.
And if there's a team out there that has enough pitchers, at least from what we've seen in years past, that would be a team I'd say probably to watch.
Seattle and LA, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid. That was my secondary. I think Seattle's going to try and load up because,
I think they're going to go for it.
Raleigh is having the best season we've ever seen from a catcher.
Julio's heating up.
And he's heating. Yep. Yeah, he is.
Starting to figure it out. Right.
And so it's like, okay, these guys are actually doing it. We need to capitalize on. And momentum is such a big deal in this sport.
Yeah,
it is.
So,
and I could see that. That would have been my second as well. Yeah. It's just literally today looking at some things that I felt like Detroit could sneak in there, and that's why I want to.
I don't hate that. I can totally see it.
They could use that offense, obviously.
Well, it's like you kind of mentioned, the other team probably to watch there would be the Dodgers. With Muncy going down, they could use the power in that lineup. They've got some holes there.
Arizona's not going to do that though.
I just don't think they would want to do it in the division. But only being a rental,
they could not care though.
Only being a rental, correct. It doesn't hurt as bad.
And are the Dodgers? Are they willing to throw in a prospect that they typically wouldn't have thrown in because
maybe you're talking like Dalton Rushing, another catching prospect for them.
Who he can play the outfield too.
Yeah. Plus, maybe a Gavin Stone or a Bobby Miller that they've
kind of given up on.
They don't like Moreno back there. All right, that's solid. Okay, I'm going to throw one big more name at you, then I'm going to let you guys take over. So I have, and I don't know, this might not be on your list. I have the Dodgers acquiring a center fielder from the Minnesota Twins in Byron Buxton.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No.
Okay, let's hear it.
I mean, go for it.
The Twins trying to get rid of his money as much as possible. Obviously, so there's two things in my opinion that are, I guess one thing. They could use getting rid of Correa and Buxton just to get rid of the load of money.
True.
Because they're always injured players, but they are in love with Buxton. So that would be the only hindrance in my opinion. It would be a really smart move to me for them to do that. And the Dodgers get their insanely great offensive center fielder, and they love injury-prone players.
True.
Sure.
They're just looking for October.
Yeah, I think the only downside is the Dodgers have come out and expressed they want a left-handed bat versus a right-handed bat.
Then why are they going after Bader?
That makes no sense to me either.
He's cheap.
Yeah, that's not going to cost you anything. Now, again, I don't hate it. I think the only thing that I would push back on...
I had you guys on that one.
Yeah, because I don't even have him on my list as going anywhere. I'll be honest with you. The only pushback I would give on that is simply if the Twins are doing that,
Yeah.
I think they're admitting it's a rebuild.
Yep.
Which, in my opinion,
they do that. That's
going to
be fun
Right.
because
Yeah.
they've got some serious pieces.
I was
going
to say, then you're talking about full
And I've
sale
got
from.
more of them on my list.
Yeah, I know you do. I know there's one you have in mind. But yeah, I mean, so that's like, that would be the only thing that really kind of has to be cemented by Minnesota is that if they're doing that. I mean, now obviously they're not going to get rid of everything.
Yep.
I think
Right.
you still keep Royce. I think you still, there are players that you hold on to.
Sure.
But I think when it comes to the guys that only have 2 or fewer years of control left,
Yeah.
they're going to start to go. And you're looking at retooling in the sense of we're getting guys with long-term control.
So I see it also is Mookie Freeman's almost at the end of his contract.
Yep.
So they need another superstar. This is a elite position of which he's incredible at.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's going to go on the injured list every year.
Yep.
That's almost a guarantee. And he's only making 15 a year, which is
the
really
cost
small.
isn't like
And
the
he's
cost
locked up
isn't
for until the end of 28. So you have 3 more years after this one. The bat's elite. I am assuming that the Twins, based on my opinion, need to rebuild because it's just not working.
The
2 years in a
other
row.
hindrance you have is Buxton has a no trade clause, and Byron Buxton loves Minnesota for whatever reason.
That is very true.
He's said even as recently as like a couple weeks ago, like I love Minnesota. I have a no trade clause, so we'll see. If it's me, I would say the same things because the fans love it, and if you don't get moved, it would look pretty bad. If you're like, well, I'd be happy to go play in LA.
Right,
If there's places that you'd love to land, the Dodgers are one of those spots because they're year in year out playing for a potential shot at the World Series. So,
To be fair, the no trade clause ends next year.
so if
I mean, maybe it's something in the off season.
off
Could
season,
be.
probably more likely, but I mean, we've seen people pull off some blockbuster trades and the Dodgers were one of those teams. I've said it several times, like Trey Turner and Scherzer both going to LA, nobody saw coming. So, Buxton going there, and to me, if they're doing that, they go all in and get Duran too in that deal. So, that'd be a heck of a deal. I'd hate it as a Cubs fan, but
And the thing is, the Dodgers have a lot of pitching
yep.
that they could give up.
Ton. And if they're going full sell mode, that means that they're moving
Now,
some other pitching pieces. So.
I do have Joe Ryan and Johan Durant on my list. They're both not going to the Dodgers, though.
Sure.
Right. I figured that much.
So I assume none of you had Buxton getting traded.
I did
So
not.
we can move on.
No,
I
did.
like it, though. That's cool.
Somebody else give a name out there.
Go ahead, Michael.
Let me look through the list. Ryan O'Hearn.
Yeah.
Big name. Yeah.
He's
DH first baseman.
32, so it's nothing. No one's going to go crazy on this guy,
Back to
but
Kansas
he's
City.
having a great year. That would be such. Yeah, right. No, I have Milwaukee making a splash. To me, that's a spot that makes sense for
Really?
him. A spot that makes sense for them. Once again, I think there's blood in the water in the NL this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Milwaukee may actually smell that, and O'Hearn fits more of their mold. They're not going to go make a big midseason move for a Buxton or somebody like that. But an O'Hearn, that guy could make sense in Milwaukee. That contract makes sense in Milwaukee because they're not a team that likes to spin.
Yep.
They got a lot of good young pieces that they could easily move.
That's some good offense to add to a team.
And it's a lot of offense to add to a team that definitely could use some offense. So that's hitting well, but they could use the power.
That's
Yeah, I
solid.
don't hate it. Mine for Milwaukee was actually similar player, just different person in general. I thought that would be a good Yandy Diaz landing spot out of Tampa Bay. I thought that's
a good
where
one too.
Milwaukee would turn to and try and pull the trigger there. Because, again, not going to cost you too much. He's older in the sense of baseball years, but a good solid first baseman.
So, in your opinion, are they getting rid of Hoskins, or like how do they figure that out?
He'll be on the bench.
Contreras, Hoskins, and O'Hearn would have to split between DH first base.
To me, he stays on the team. He's too much of a fan favorite up there. probably an off-season thing where you see him
So you're thinking
cut ties with
lefty-righty
one of
split?
the two. Potentially, O'Hearn has played some outfield. You
Yeah.
know, and
So he
they've
could
got
potentially go out
enough
there.
good outfielders to make up for probably his little bit of defensive struggle.
Yeah.
Being a guy that probably shouldn't be playing in the outfield at this point in his career, but I mean, they definitely could throw him out there
Yeah.
if both guys are hot. You know, it's one of those things. Like obviously, Contreras isn't getting benched, so Hoskins, O'Hearn, and Contreras, all three out there. I could see that as an everyday lineup for sure.
Yeah. I have O'Hearn staying in the division and going to Boston.
Boston, yeah.
I think
We can see that.
Boston makes a splash for him because it fits having the left-handed power bat there.
Yeah.
That can play first base.
They lost one.
Exactly. So I think that this makes a lot of sense for them. And
Yeah.
if they miss out, I think kind of the same thing. This could be a potential Yandy Diaz because Tampa Bay doesn't really care who they trade with if the pieces are right.
True.
And so, and for Baltimore, I think they can live with an O'Hearn going to Boston
Yeah.
because they know it's not long term.
Yeah.
Especially if the package is right and what they get back in return for him.
Yeah. So I actually had Hearn. I had a couple I was thinking the Rangers would be a decent spot. I did think of Milwaukee, and I thought of Boston too, and I couldn't decide between the two. I was thinking the Rangers would do that, then because they tried Jock Peterson, and it's just not working out. Josh Smith is there and kind of does that, but O'Hearn's hypothetically gonna be better. So I had him going to the
I can
Rangers.
see that.
I could too. Because you're talking to Texas
Because they're
team.
getting really hot.
Well, and you're talking to a Texas team that, you know, they're kind of at a weird spot. They have some vets that still have some, you know, life left in them, but definitely are going to teeter off before this next wave comes through that is kind of up right now. But, you know, in 5-6 years, those guys are going to be pretty much irrelevant.
Yeah.
And so they kind of may be in that win now mode because we kind of thought that was going to be a team, you know, before the year that would be battling for the West, and you know they're getting hot right time coming into all this. So I could see Texas. That could make sense.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago I thought they would be sellers.
Agreed.
I thought you were talking about
got really
Evaldi being moved somewhere,
Yeah.
potentially DeGrom, depending on
That could be
where they
interesting.
have sat today. But now, I mean, I don't think they're selling at all. I mean, obviously they're going to have to move some pieces to get some pieces.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that, kind of does fit in that regard. I think honestly, they're probably going to look for more bullpen help. Texas will, and then maybe an outfielder.
Yeah, I mean, they always need bullpen help. They have great. The thing is, O'Hearn can play outfield, can have what's his name sit, Mastermind, Megamind sit.
Oh,
I think
do
he's going to
lefty
get
split.
moved.
I think he may get
he's
moved
going to
as
get
well.
moved.
Really?
I think that's one of the pieces that goes in order to make room for a new piece. And I actually, and some people might hate me for this, but as long as he passes physicals, I think Lars Nootbaar would be a tremendous fit in Texas.
And Houston.
Well, yeah, that too. But I think if Texas really wants to move on from Adolis Garcia,
Yeah.
not that a Garcia comes to St. Louis, you use Garcia to
Yeah.
get something else, maybe some relief help in some
So-
regard.
Well, I mean, you know, just picture this from Texas standpoint. You can throw up Corey Seager and then Newt Barr, you know, Simeon, those guys when their power's there. I mean, that's 23, Rangers lineup. That was all power, and Newt Barr has shown some of that at points, so
He would be a great leadoff hitter for
he would
that
be
lineup.
a lot of fun there.
You could do Newt Barr, Simeon, and Seager.
And Simeon would hit him in all day.
yeah.
Yes.
That's why I say
That's
like
an interesting.
it makes a lot of
Whoa.
sense there on that one. And as I was looking at it, because I'm not sold that St. Louis is quite ready to
Sure.
move him, but I think it would be smart because I actually think really there are 3 players from the St. Louis team that could tremendously help Texas right now, as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah.
I think Phil Maton could go.
Yep.
I think Steven Matz would be a great hybrid for them. He could potentially start or be out of the bullpen
Good
for
call.
them.
Yeah.
And
That's a
then
good one.
also, then you add in Lars Nootbaar
Yeah.
in that mix. And I think if you send all 3 of those, you could potentially get a good return. It's not going to
So
be like
Nootbaar,
this
Matz,
top
and
tier. Maton.
Maton?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a the Cardinals and the Rangers have a bit of a history of making some deals together. So
They do.
I mean, maybe maybe it works out for you guys. I mean, maybe you can get them to throw like an Evan Carter or somebody
Right.
who's got some definite intrigue to him as a player into a deal.
I don't know that he was their playoff.
Yeah, but I mean,
they're basically done with him. I mean, he's not really getting a lot of options
So
or looks there.
you're bringing up Nootbaar, Matz, and Maton. Let's sit there for a second. Do you have any of those guys from the Cardinals getting traded?
yeah, I have those guys plus Helsley moving
Together?
No,
Okay.
no. Most of them are going to just be moving separately. I actually had Matt's potentially going back to the Mets.
I could see that too.
They could use some, especially a middle guy like that, who could potentially be a spot starter for them from time to time, especially down the stretch of the season. You need a guy who can come in and throw 3-4 innings to be a starter or whatever, an opener. But he can also kind of close out your bullpen as your 7-8 guy as well. So
what's his name? Really likes him. The owner of the Mets. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, Cohen.
Cohen really likes Mets.
Yeah, which I think that would be a good fit for him.
Yeah, that's
too.
a good fit. What about Nootbaar?
Nootbaar.
Did you? You might not have had him.
I didn't have Nootbaar moving now. I think he'll move in the offseason potentially. I just got to throw a little subtle jab. The Cardinals do have a history of holding on to young outfielders and not moving them when their value's there.
Yep.
And Nootbaar screams the same type of profile.
Sure
So
do.
We'll see. Bloom
Maybe
could be
that's
a
why
big
I'm kind of
difference.
pushing
Yeah,
this
right.
out into the ether a little bit here.
Just
right.
hoping so.
You said you had Helsley though.
Yeah, Helsley. I have him going as well, and I actually had him going to Boston. I think Boston's going to miss out on one of those other big time closers, or one of those teams are not going to make a move.
That's a great deal for us to work in, because
Boston.
There's someone in the Cardinals organization that knows Boston's system really well.
Very true. You may get some surprise candidate that every person in St. Louis is sitting here going, "Are you kidding me? We traded for this guy," and then 2 years from now,
Helsley for Roman
he's my
Anthony,
favorite
straight
player.
up.
Jeez. Don't tease me. It's not going to happen. I know that. But, yeah, I mean, I have Helsley on my list, and there are a couple places. I mean, obviously, Philly always keeps coming
Philly's
up
big
in
one.
that conversation as somebody who wants him.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good fit there. This is another place I think Detroit could make a splash.
Okay.
And come in and grab that back end guy to just help them, not necessarily be that closer. I mean, they could put him there if they wanted to, but just really give him some punch on the back end. Although I think like someone like David Bednar fits a little bit better in Detroit
Cheaper
in that
too,
regard.
probably.
Right. Yeah. I don't think he's going to cost the same, but for me, I think maybe the surprise out of all of it is we may see Helsley in San Diego.
I actually had them on my list as well.
Even
for
though their
Helsley,
bullpen
potentially.
has been solid.
Yep.
I could see them, and I could see Preller just saying, "Hey, you know what? We just need some more arms out there."
Especially if they move a couple. So
the only thing with that is that's a solid pick. I think San Diego is going to sell. Preller's a maniac.
Yeah.
And we play them right after the trade deadline.
I think
And something tells me the Cardinals are going to send somebody that we're going to go play right away.
to me, the Padres are screaming one of those hybrid teams. Where
I
you're going
think
to see
it's-
them make a
Cease
couple
is
of
good.
moves.
Cease is going. He's on my list.
Yeah.
But
me too.
I think they'll ultimately end up being a buyer slightly, most likely, especially because I think they feel like they're close enough to LA right now that they make a big move here or something. They may be able to jump them for the division and stuff, which maybe you don't want to do, because given the last several years, the wild card teams are the ones that get to have all the fun. So
If Helsley goes to Detroit, though, he's not giving up a run the rest of the year.
probably not.
You know what I'm saying?
No, not in that ballpark.
Probably not.
Right.
Not
If
in
he's
that ballpark,
playing at
not with
home,
that pitching
right.
org.
Yeah.
So I have Helsley going. I have him going to the Phillies. I was tossed
I
between
don't
the
hate
Phillies
that.
and the Yankees.
Yeah.
But I have him going to the Phillies. And I think it could go either way.
Yeah.
I think one of those two teams will pick him up. I don't hate the San Diego thing, but man, something about that org is screaming like we need to blow this thing up. For some reason,
Let's just
like they're so close to just being okay. This isn't going to work. We have so much money owed to so many players that are all going.
That's right.
Like
Let's
this.
just throw a blockbuster out like you suggested, and let's just send a bunch
That's
of
an
people to
off-season
San
move.
Diego
Yeah.
and bring in Tatis and put him in right field.
I would hate that as a Cubs fan so much. I would also love it as a baseball fan because I could go watch him play all the time.
Right. Just watch
Right.
it. I went on.
He would say yes to it too
Thursday.
because his dad played.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
There's that connection.
I went Thursday. It was hot. It
Oh,
was
dude,
all get
brutal.
out. But just watching him play in right
Sure.
field, I was like, I would absolutely be in love and probably,
Yeah.
just
To be fair, this was an off-season move that I was messing around with, not in the deadline.
I would do it right now.
I know we would. No front office is going to do that.
Gosh, San Diego may get burned to the ground unless you guys are
I
throwing.
don't know. I
If
mean,
you
'cause
make that deal, that's got to be weather
think
holding
about
that
all the
deal.
money
If I'm
that
San
they
I'm
owe.
Diego,
thinking like you got Jordan Walker because obviously, and you've said that you could lay out your trade. I mean, I'm just going to throw names out, but
Yeah.
you've got Jordan Walker you could play with. You got Lars Nootbaar,
Yeah.
which solves 2 spots for San Diego right there because
Yep.
they need a left fielder.
Yep.
And then you're replacing Tatis with potential
Yeah.
younger, same somewhat profile. He's not as
Sure.
athletic defensively, obviously,
Yeah.
but power potential could be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still have someone, you got pitching that you can send over there, and maybe like a Quinn Matthews, a Tink Hence that would help San Diego.
And St. Louis taking on a big portion of that
They're
contract.
all
too.
the
Taking it
money.
all.
In
Yeah.
my,
Yeah,
in
'cause
my
you would for a
trade,
player
they're
like
taking
that.
all
I
of it.
have
Right.
to.
Yeah.
Right. And
He's
I
got a
don't.
14-year contract of like almost 300.
Yeah, which is
spread
not-
over.
I was
If you
gonna
think about
say-
Soto's money.
When
That's cheap.
Well, and at the value you get from a Tatis type of player, I mean,
Yeah, because then
It
you're
works
not,
out.
you're not, because I'm not saying you're not touching like Mason Wynn, Victor Scott. I'm hoping you could steer clear of like a JJ Weatherholt, but that may mean that you have to then start to consider including someone like Brendan Donovan
Yep.
as part of the deal.
Which
So here's
that's actually the one guy I'm kind of curious on you guys' opinion on is Donovan. I'm starting to hear whispers of his name being one that comes up in several deals, and I could see the Cardinals where they should make that deal because he's a little bit older than the other guys in this new regiment of players coming up. Doesn't make sense to move him. Why his value is very high? Because love the guy. He seems like a very nice guy. Great ball player. Is he at his peak right now? And this is where
think
you
so.
have to answer the Tyler O'Neill question.
Yep.
Is this his peak? Or does he have more in the tank? And if this is his peak, you don't need that right now. You need some other young players to build around Mason Wynn and Victor Scott and those
in
guys.
my opinion, he will go if the offer is
right.
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like if let's throw the Dodgers out there. No, let's throw the Yankees out there because I think
They're the ones
The
that
Yankees,
have been reported as
Sure.
interested.
it's going to cost Jones.
Yep.
Right.
And are
That's
the Yankees
the starting
willing to give
block.
it up? Sure. Yeah, I think I think the Cardinals would do it. If the Dodgers want him that bad, do you want to get rid of Bobby Miller and Sheehan?
Yep.
Oh yeah, you can have them. I think
Yeah.
it will be that high.
Yep.
I think they would trade him if
Right.
the other
It's just
team.
going to take the right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I could see the Mets entering the conversation,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to cost the Mets.
Yep.
Like it's going to cost them in prospect
Yeah.
return. I mean, you're talking potentially looking at a Beatty and an Acuna, a couple really
It's going
solid.
to cost a lot of pitching.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what the system
Yeah.
needs really bad.
Sure.
So real quick, my Tatis trade is
We're getting into a little fun here.
real quick part time. Jordan Walker, Lars Nootbaar, Quinn Matthews, Tink Hence, and then a 19-year-old ish, kind of like basically a Soto trade that Washington made for the Padres.
I mean,
So
think
trying
of
to
like,
replenish that.
Ronell, the catcher, that's
Yeah,
exploding down
like
in
someone
single
like
A
that.
like
That's
that.
like
that you
17, 18.
Yeah,
you
years
could
old.
throw in there for the Padres that
And
seemingly could rise through.
Yeah, we take Tatis all of his money.
Yeah.
but we have him locked for.
Yeah, he becomes the star.
So I'm looking
Correct.
at his deal. He's 26 right now, and his deal goes to 36. We got him for 10 more years.
That's my thing is you're looking at Tatis, barring something crazy happens, he does something stupid again.
Got to take the risk.
You have a guy who probably when he's at his peak is a top 3 player in the league.
That's another million fans to the ballpark just because of that.
It should be. I mean, that guy he's Ronald Acuna minus the 2 ACL tears. Worst thing he's done is wreck a motorcycle. So
every team needs 2 to 3 aircraft carrier superstars locked in right there.
He's that guy.
I could see it. I mean, yeah, it's going to be expensive. Like you
fine.
just laid out, like 5 very solid
we're
young
giving him Walker,
players.
and that's what they wanted Walker to be.
So, I mean, I could see it. They definitely are going to have to get some young outfielders to build around if you're getting rid of Tatis. And obviously, they got Jackson Merrill out there,
And this
who's
is
probably
why
going
I
to be the
said
face.
that I just feel like the Padres are so close to having to blow it up because they've got 3 old players with $200 million apiece.
Yeah.
And they're like, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And Preller is so close to getting fired because the owners are all having a tiffy fit and everything. So it's just like they scream to me like, oh, this is happening. Now,
that would be fun.
that would be really fun for baseball. I'm not saying that's a deadline move.
Yeah.
So
No.
shall we move on?
Let's get
I'm gonna
back
throw
to
a
the
name
real
out
life.
there. Yeah, real life things. I'm gonna throw a name out there. Cedric Mullins.
Okay.
I have him going to the Astros.
Okay.
They need a left-handed center fielder.
Yep.
The Dodgers are the other ones that would be a really good fit, but I think the Astros take the cake because I feel like the Astros are going to be a little more desperate.
I actually have him going to Philadelphia.
Really?
Philly needs
That wasn't
an
even on my radar.
outfielder.
That was a good,
Philadelphia needs outfield help desperately. To me, Cedric's cheap, and they're going to be making some other big splash moves or attempting to make some other big splash moves. That's the easy, low cost. It's going to be a little more expensive than like an Ahmed Rosario type of deal, but, you're getting an elite defensive player. I don't know if you guys saw that play he made last night, just absolutely insane. And a guy who's shown some power at even within the last couple of years. So makes a lot of sense in Philly, in my opinion.
I agree with you, Tim. I think ultimately he ends up in Houston because I think Philly's going to pivot and make a bigger swing, and they're going to find a way to pull Stephen Kwan from the Guardians.
I actually love that too.
And so I think Stephen Kwan heads to Philly for the outfield help, gives them a great leadoff option.
Yeah.
They can allow Schwarber to slide
Well, I was
back
going
a
to
little
say,
bit.
you probably just slide him behind Schwarber, actually, just because.
Either way, right.
Schwarber's the
Kwan
best
had
off.
center field time?
I mean, he can.
Because that's a big thing for them.
Yeah, he can. I think he has the defensive prowess to
think so,
play
too.
center field.
Yeah.
I think if they really want to get aggressive, I'm not quite sold that Cleveland wants to move Clase quite yet. But I think you might be able to get them both in a deal.
Yep.
It's going to cost a little bit more.
For sure.
But I think that's where they could get their closer and an outfield all in one package
I like
if they
that
wanted
move.
to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately why I think Houston becomes the settling point for Cedric Mullins, because I think the Dodgers are going to set their sights on a little bit higher. Like I think they're going to be in somebody else on somebody else that I'll mention here in a little bit.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Michael.
No, go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, do you have Kwan on your list?
I do. I have
Okay.
Stephen Kwan actually going to the team you think's going to become a seller in San Diego.
Okay.
They keep looking for a young outfielder. You're talking elite
Continue
of
to
the
overpay.
elite defensive player.
Yeah.
He's still got a couple years of control left on there, so they're not having to pay him just yet. He's could be a leadoff hitter for you. He can be, your 5-6 hitter wherever you need to slot him in there into that lineup. And to me, he'd be the great leadoff hitter because of all that power behind him. So yeah, I have Stephen Kwan going to San Diego.
So I have Kwan. This kind of doesn't make sense with my original trade, but I just feel like the Dodgers are the Dodgers. I think Kwan's going to the
Can see it.
Dodgers.
I could see that.
So Kwan and Buxton going to.
Oh, that'd be insane.
That would be stupid. But
the Dodgers are the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they've got so much pitching that obviously they don't care as much about, and they're willing to spend as much money as they want. So I'm not saying I feel like Quan is more realistic than Buxton, obviously.
Let me throw a pitcher into that mix that I could see Cleveland getting a hold of and just turning him into a Cy Young pitcher, and that's
Bobby
Dustin May.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he screams like guy that can throw 99. Had some elbow injuries and stuff, and it just screams Cleveland, Tampa Bay type of guy that gets a hold of him, and this guy just
May's had 2
lights it up.
Tommy Johns, right?
He has, but those teams, like I said, those two teams, they seem to turn it around on those guys.
Yeah.
The worst injury he had was actually eating salad last year.
Right.
His esophagus got all messed up. So
Yeah, like, who would have thought?
sounds
right?
like,
that's an
Nolan
LA
Goring
thing,
with the
right?
popcorn.
Like, I mean, yeah, right.
I'm just
That's
not going to eat as much popcorn.
Yeah.
So you had one name, Class A, you said going.
I think, I mean, I don't know that Philly's ready to make that big of a splash. I mean, I would love to see him there, but I don't think Cleveland's quite yet ready to give up on him.
that's
But, I mean, he's got to get paid.
Yep.
If he's going to stay, he's got to
So
get paid.
you don't have Class A moving.
No, I don't. I just have Quan going there because I think ultimately, like I said, I think Helsley finds a way to be in Philly because
Yeah.
they're just. I think
makes
they've had
sense.
their eye on him.
So I
for
do
a
have
while.
Class A going to Philly this year because
Okay.
more so because Cleveland is not trying to get rid of him, but Philly's that desperate.
fair.
Yeah,
That's
They're
fair.
so close to being at the end. They're like, okay, this is it. We need to give everything we got because we got one shot left.
If they're gonna make a deal like that, I do like your deal for Quan and for
yeah.
Class
Like
A
if you
both.
could work that out, I think that's
Because-
amazing for Philly.
I mean, you're interjecting 2 all-star players. Your defense goes from being okay to elite out there. You have a guy who is exactly what they need as an offensive player. He has a little bit of power, not a whole lot, but he gets on base all the time.
Right.
And that's exactly
mean,
what they need in front of all those
Philly,
guys.
Philly does have the top end prospects to get that
Yeah.
job done.
I agree.
They're draining their system for it, but again,
Their window
in
is
it
now.
Yeah,
I mean
their
that's
window is right now.
That's the
And
thing.
Cleveland
for
would
them.
love a deal like
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because I mean, if they could pull a Painter or an Abel and a Crawford out of that, like
That's big.
that's all it would take.
yeah,
Done.
I mean, and they would be completely happy.
And like you
with
said,
that.
they don't have to pay Class A, and they're going to have to pay Stephen Quan in a couple years anyway. So they wouldn't have done that. They get guys with more control. Makes
and
a lot of sense.
I mean, and then you still have your building block
Yeah.
in Ramirez.
And
who's
to me,
gonna
that
just
deal
stay
is
there.
more so because Philly is willing to pay so much,
Agreed.
and Cleveland can't say no.
agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there any other spots you could see like both of those guys going?
Again, I mean, if San Diego wants to get crazy,
Quan could
I
go to
could see
Houston.
them both. The only thing is, I mean, I could see Quan going to Houston because they're looking for a left fielder.
Yeah.
I don't know that they have the prospects to get him.
Yeah.
But I don't see both going there because I definitely don't think Houston has the prospects for both. Like, I think if they swing and miss at Cedric Mullins, I think the next best option for them might be going to the White Sox and talking about Talkman, who's a left-handed power bat. Like, he's not anything
legend.
special. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think he could play left field.
He homered
for
2 or
them.
3 times in this weekend series. So.
Right. Like, I mean,
You guys got spanked in that one game.
We
That was
did.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm glad we came back because I was embarrassed.
but I mean, I think like that's something that they're going to have to pivot to as far as Houston's side of the things. And I think the only other 2 names that really surface for Houston, because I think it's going to be a relatively quiet trade deadline for them, is like a Ke'Bryan Hayes from Pittsburgh to play
Ooh.
third base. Or maybe they re-engage talks and Nolan Arenado decides, hey, I will go to Houston this time
Okay.
and
So,
goes over there.
I want to hit that.
Yep.
Do you have Class A going anywhere?
I do not.
Okay.
But I think that if there's a deal to be made with Quan and Class A, both going, I just missed it. I lost it. Never mind. Go ahead.
You know, hold on real quick. You know where it'd be fun? This just popped in my head when you said that. Is if Toronto could figure out
That's
a
exactly
way.
where I was
Yeah,
just
if
thinking,
Toronto
actually.
could get both of those
Yep.
guys.
That's
a
exactly.
spicy.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
exactly
man,
where I
that
was just
team.
thinking.
Yeah. Then that, I mean, they're already good.
Yeah.
But
Juan's a
that makes
contact hitter,
them,
which fits their offensive profile.
100%.
Yeah.
Great defender.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
you can pretty much just chalk up Quan being on base with Vladdy coming up to bat.
yeah. Like, I
And
mean, like,
Alejandro Kirk.
Yeah.
when he comes back.
Is his nickname the Little Dumper?
I don't know.
Gotta
That'd
be,
so
right?
funny.
It should be anyway. If not, that's what we're calling it
That's
from here on
incredible. I
out.
love
So,
Okay, so you brought up Arenado, so let's go there. Does anybody have him on the list?
I mean, I have him in a potential couple spots.
I have
Okay.
him potential as well. I don't know that he does get moved, but it's the Dodgers for me. If anybody's
Okay.
making that deal because they need a third baseman with Muncy going down, I think that the Cardinals and the Dodgers both can figure out a way to work that in, and a Bobby Miller type of guy or something. And it's not going to be insanely expensive for either end, in my opinion. And for Nolan, he's looking at this year and chalking it up to we're not winning a World Series this year. Help these guys maybe get something in the future, and gives me a real shot to potentially win a World Series this year, go play with the best guys, Ohtani and Betts and all those guys, and I get to go back home. So,
well, and I think obviously that's a big point for him.
Going home or going to a winning
I mean,
team?
going to
Both.
LA, both. I think it benefits, but I think you'd see a rejuvenated Nolan.
I agree.
I think that
all of a sudden he's a 30
Correct.
home run,
It's one of those
100
things that
guy
just
out
I
of
think
nowhere.
change the scenery.
All of a sudden he gets out there and he's like on a 10-game stretch, he has 6 home runs in 10
That's
games.
going to be the
and
second
it's like-
best-selling jersey in LA aside from Ohtani.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it'll be
100%.
insane, but I mean, like, it makes the most sense. Like, there for a little bit, I even kind of thought about the prospect of saying, what does it look like return-wise to send Nootbaar and Nato? Because they're friends.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense. Nootbaar's got connection, obviously, with Ohtani.
Yeah.
Being out there on the West Coast would benefit him for
Yeah.
the Japanese market, and then Nato being back at home. So you package those two up. What do you potentially get in return? Can you get, Bobby Miller and, somebody
So,
else?
In my mind,
in that?
I like that idea as a fan. Do I think the office is going to do that? No, because they're dumb. But Nootbaar and Arenado and maybe Helsley could get you Bobby Miller, in my opinion.
I think just the two of them could get you Bobby Miller, because I think the Dodgers are done with Bobby Miller.
I do too.
I do too, but I also think Nolan's money is such dead weight.
I mean, you're still. I
So
think in
he's
that
a low,
deal,
he's a minus.
yeah,
in the
but I
trade.
think in that deal, you're eating some of that money to
Yeah,
make
that's
that
fair.
move.
That's fair.
That's where I think, because I don't think if the Cardinals are willing to move Nato, I don't care what the deal is, you're retaining some of that money
absolutely.
regardless.
Colorado already spotted you guys 50 mil.
Right,
so.
right. We're just gonna have to dip into that pool.
Yeah. Do you have him getting moved,
Who's that?
Arenado?
I think he goes.
LA?
Ultimately, I think LA is probably the first option. Secondary is if they don't want him. I think he agrees to the Houston deal just for a shot at playing in the postseason.
So I think Arenado. I originally wasn't on this, but after this week, or this weekend series, I think he goes to Houston actually.
I could see it.
And I think he becomes a rental in Houston, and in the offseason, he gets moved.
They
again.
flip him again.
Yeah.
To LA.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
LA.
I think so.
Yeah.
The-
I could see that
They
move.
would. So St. Louis ends up eating some money, and then in the offseason, Houston ends up eating a little money, and all of a sudden, the Dodgers aren't
gone.
paying much at all
Right.
for it.
That deal screams, obviously not quite the same type of player, but it screamed back in 2018 or something. The Cubs struck up a deal with the Tigers for Nick Castellanos. One of those things that the Tigers loved him. He loved being in Detroit, but he went from, he's having an okay year to he just rocket the second half of the season. I think Arenado, wherever he lands, is going to go from very mid-season to bam, this guy is the all-star that we used to see all the time.
And now I think ultimately, if he wants to do that, Houston's the better fit for him.
Oh, he could rake there.
Right. I think it's the better fit, but I know the pull of being close to home would be a lot more.
True.
And so that's why I give the Dodgers the edge in that.
Yeah.
Because I think there are a couple players with no trade on the St. Louis Cardinals that would be willing to waive that right now.
Him going to the Yankees, he gets beat out by McMahon for a spot again. So
Dude, that'd be so unreal. Poor
Right.
guy. Not really. All right, one of you guys throw out another name. That we
All
have.
right. So I'm going to throw out Luis Robert Jr. because he's starting
Yeah.
to surface again.
yeah,
This is one that I think the Dodgers are going to play in.
sure.
because I think it solves an issue right now because he can play center field, and then it solves a long-term issue because he can move to a corner spot.
Sure.
Okay.
For them long-term. A couple other places. I mean, obviously, you've probably seen the reports or heard the Mets are definitely in on it, but the asking price is pretty steep on that side. So
Yeah, but it's the White Sox.
but
Do they actually hold pat on that?
right.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to kind of see how that pans out. I think if it comes down to prospects, the Dodgers have more to play with.
Yes.
And they're going to ultimately win that battle. And so that's why I didn't have Buxton on my list. One, I think he stays in Minnesota because the Dodgers end up pulling Lubob here. And he's already shown over the last 2 weeks he still has that offensive prowess.
True.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
does it get unlocked in L.A.? Maybe so,
Well, it's
because
like
the pressure comes off
It's like
too.
the whole Cubs thing. Like you add Michael Bush, and he was pretty good last year, but then you add Kyle Tucker, and all of a sudden he just gets better in proximity. Do you have Robert Jr. going in?
I don't actually have him moving. He's one of them that I had several places where he could be like a potential good fit. LA obviously is a big spot for him. Philadelphia once again surfaces there as a potential place he lands. And then I actually, unlikely to happen because it's the same division, but I could see Detroit potentially if they're willing to make a deal.
I have a fun one. I don't think it's going to happen for Lubob, but it would sure be exciting. He'd have to be willing to concede center field,
Yeah.
but go to Seattle.
I thought about them. I could see that.
That would be into Chicago's benefit.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk this Seattle lineup. All of a sudden, you trade for Suarez and you get Robert to mix in with the dumper, Julio, who's finally hitting like he should be, and then
Naylor.
Naylor.
Crawford, Rodriguez, Raleigh, Naylor, Arozarena. So
Who's
Arozarena is
Garver?
left field.
Is that their
Yeah,
backup?
their
Yeah,
DH,
he's
yeah.
hit decent too. So
Canzone is in right field.
That's where I think if you could convince Robert to go to right field and play out there
yeah.
in Seattle, and that lineup, man, just becomes nasty.
It would.
That's a lot of righties, though.
Yeah, but
I mean, they got some switch. They got two switch hitters.
Yeah.
Polanco stays there.
and you got Naylor, who's a lefty. So I
Cole
mean, they've got
Young,
balance.
Dumper, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't hate that. I
I think it'd be fun.
I
Now,
hate
will
that
they
at
make
all
that
for
type of
them.
move?
I don't know.
interesting-
I don't see them trying to get three bats.
I'd be so curious.
to see Suarez.
It'd be so fun.
It would be so good for the team and the city. They would be like, oh, he actually did it. We don't have this glut of pitching.
I'm so curious to see what the White Sox are standing on, like how much they're actually going to ask for him. Like,
Yeah.
do they continue to be the way they've been the last several years, where it's like, oh, well, he's hitting again, so his value's back up to this.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not. Like, for the last year and a half, he's been one of the worst baseball players in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus the last week and a half, he's looked really good. So,
And does that team have enough that makes him better?
yeah.
Yeah, because ultimately, I only think 3 people get moved from the White Sox:
Okay.
Lubob,
Yeah.
Adrian Hauser,
Yep.
Okay.
and then Talkman.
I could see that.
I think those are the only 3 guys that
Where's
really
Hauser
go
go?
anywhere. So for me, I think this is the fun one because I could see him going to the Mets and needing pitching.
Yeah.
I could see, I mean, obviously there's a number of teams that need pitching. This is
Yeah.
another one where I think Toronto can come into play.
Sure.
Another one where Detroit could play around with to get them another solid pitcher.
Yep.
But ultimately, I think if anybody's going to come call, that's the Mets right there. That's where the Mets scream, we need starting pitching. That's the guy. And
That
so,
deal
like,
could
I
make
would
a
write
ton of
him
sense
down.
for Toronto.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be low cost comparatively to
Yeah.
a lot of guys. You don't have to worry about the interdivision type of thing like with Detroit. It can make a lot of sense. Guys having a great year, and
Doesn't
you can
Hauser like almost have full control?
you can.
Or am I thinking of the other pitcher?
You're probably thinking of someone else because Hauser's like 30 something.
Yeah, he's an
Oh,
older
okay, yeah, I'm
guy.
thinking of that young kid that had the like 2-something ERA for a long time. That
No,
St.
no,
Louis
no,
beat
no.
up.
That's a different.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
different guy.
Yeah. I think Toronto would be a great fit for him.
Who do you have Talkman going to Chicago?
Well, I think there's a couple teams. One, like I said, I
Back to the
think
Cubs?
this is no.
No.
I think that's where like you look at the teams that need outfield help. So like Houston potentially is a landing spot for him. I think that he comes in when it's like swing and miss. Like they're going after somebody.
Yeah.
They don't land that player, then they pivot
As
to
a
a
backup.
Talkman. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just what I'm
He'll
thinking.
be
for
low
him.
cost,
Yeah,
too.
he's not gonna. I mean, you're talking a bag of balls and a AAA relief pitcher, and you're
Yeah.
probably gonna get him.
So I had, going back real quick before we moved back to Hauser,
Yeah.
I had Robert Jr. going to the Mets, just
Okay.
because it solidifies that center field position for 3 to 4 years or whatever. The Mets have this thing going on. I mean, now they got the Pablo Sanchez. They're going to go on another magical run, and it keeps what's his name out of center field. I'm blanking on his name, the lefty. He played left field for a long time.
Conforto?
No, he's on the Dodgers.
Or yeah, sorry.
Why am I blanking on his name? Let me pull up the
For the Mets?
Yeah. The Mets.
Oh, I know it. I can see him.
Brandon Nimmo.
Yes.
Keeps him
Yeah.
out of center.
Yeah.
They actually get a good center field because they definitely don't want McNeil in center.
No.
Not if they can help it.
Do you have Adrian Hauser? I didn't have Hauser going anywhere.
I do have Hauser going. I didn't have him going to Toronto, but that's actually a really great spot for him to land. I actually have him going across town to Chicago because he's going to be low cost, and that's
Yep. Get another starter.
it gives the Cubs a starter, which they could really use. Now, Hauser probably is only going there if they miss out on a couple of the other big name pitchers.
Yeah.
But to me, he's not a bad consolation prize. It's not like you're landing with a guy who's got like a 5 ERA and you're just hoping he pitches well. Like it's a guy who's having a career year this year. So, kind of the thing that they really need right now.
Yeah.
I don't have Hauser on my list. Just because Chicago doesn't like to trade anybody for some reason.
Yeah.
Some weird reason.
They value him way too high.
Yeah. I'm going to throw... I got one more name to throw before I do my really, really big trade. Jojo Romero. I think he goes to the Dodgers.
Ooh,
I don't think he goes anywhere. I don't have him on my list.
he's
Don't have
definitely
him
not on my
your
list.
Not on your list? Okay. Well, let's move on.
No, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, he's had a good resurgence here in the bullpen, but I think because of his age and control, I think it gives him some value to stay here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I want him traded, because he has the most value out of all of the relievers. He could go back to Philly, too. Philly could give up something for him because they need help really bad. And he could set up. He could close a game, depending on, who in the lineup is up. But, okay, so nobody else has that.
No.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to throw out a weird one. This is just all centered around the Mets. So this is where I ultimately think the Mets end up landing, and it's kind of odd. I think they get Sandy Alcantara, Dylan Cease.
Wow.
Whoa.
And then they pivot because they don't get Lou Bob,
Okay.
and they go to Anaheim for the LA Angels,
Adele?
and they get Adele from him to play center field.
Okay.
Wow.
That's going to be
a-
very expensive.
Yes.
But they have the prospects to do
They
it.
do, and
I-
they have the money too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Um,
Wow, dude.
Sandy, that
He's not going to cost as much because of the year he's having.
correct.
I think the biggest cost in all of this is surprising to me. I think it's actually going to be Adele.
I agree.
Is going to cost the
'cause
most.
he's starting to surge and he's
Right.
looking like a decent player.
Right.
Who would have said that at the beginning of the year?
So. Wow, that's crazy. I
don't
could
hate that.
See the Mets making those deals.
I don't see the C deal.
It'll be interesting to see what Philadelphia does to combat that type of deal.
They're not going after the starting pitching, though.
No, but to
They're going to want to throw a wrench in
they're
it.
going to have lockdown relievers at that point. So they're going to go all in on Class A,
Yes.
maybe
Oh, I see
Durant,
what
maybe
you're
a
saying, just
Helsley
'cause the
type of thing
division,
because
okay.
Yeah.
and they may grab two of those guys because
You'd have to start to.
the Mets offense is going to be solid and their pitching is going to be locked down at that point. So
Yeah.
wow.
Wow, that's a That's a good one.
And Adele really can bring some random pop to that lineup too. So
Right.
you randomly
Solid
slot him in
defense.
as like a
hope-
6 or
would they
7
hope
guy.
Marte would
Right. Because I think Marte gets moved
Yep.
yeah.
as
Okay.
part of this. So
Okay.
that's where they try and recoup some things. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be a trade out, trade in because they're going to have to give up some. I think Beatty is gone in this deal.
Okay.
I think Acuna is gone because of this.
Where are they landing?
So,
San
like for me,
Diego,
I
LA?
think Beatty goes to San Diego because
Okay.
I think they're starting to think about potential third
Life
base.
after Machado.
Yep. And so that gives them a younger
that.
prospect that fits in that. And then I think, you talk about Acuna, I could see him in Miami as
okay.
a good fit as part
And
of.
they'll flip him in 2 years.
Exactly.
Right.
Then they reuse it. And so where it gets interesting for me is then what are you giving up to get Adele? Maybe
Sure.
Marte can go out to LA as part of the
Yeah.
deal that gets Adele in, but it's still going to cost you a little bit. And at this point, no one really knows what the Angels
I
are
was going to
looking
say,
for.
Yeah.
does Marte turn into one of those
A
like
draft pick
like
that
a-
they can start right away.
a 3-team deal like what the Cardinals worked
Yeah.
out last year with the White Sox and Dodgers type
Yeah,
of thing, where he
absolutely.
lands randomly with Houston or somebody who could use an outfielder that has some power and
Yeah.
stuff, and they may take a shot on him.
Yeah,
I
I
don't hate
completely
it.
see that.
I don't hate it. Let's go back to the big one. Do you have Alcantara going anywhere?
Alcantara, I do have going somewhere.
Okay.
That is the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
See, I still have somebody that I think you guys need to
there's-
go after.
There's one guy I
Sam.
would much rather have, but he has the big name, which I think the Chicago fans would love to hear that Sandy Alcantara is coming.
Sure.
And
He's still
comes
got a
from
couple
St.
years
Louis.
of contract.
Yeah, that would
that'd
only
be
help.
better if he pays for it.
Right.
They've still got, I think, 2 years left of control with him, which the front office would love. And if you can get him to be most of what he was a few years back, if he's our 3 with that, unbelievable. Like, and you're feeling really good with the team that's averaging 6 runs a game with 3 pitchers who can pitch, sub 3 ERA or right around 3 ERA type guys. So.
Yeah. So I actually don't have Alcantara going anywhere. I
I
don't
could see
think
it.
Miami can move him.
Somebody's
Just
gonna
because
take him
the
because
price-
starting
the-
pitching is going to be a premium.
but I think Miami's asking price is just going to get too high, and no team is going to pay it this year. Next year's a different story because of the control. But yeah, I don't have them being able to move Alcantara.
I think Miami is ready to move on from Sandy, and I don't think it's actually going to cost quite as much. Now, given we
No, I
could
mean,
see a
he's having
couple of
a
these
bad year.
teams miss out
Yeah,
on
and then go
guys,
all
and then
in.
all of a
Right,
sudden
right.
the
That
does
price
change,
goes way up,
which we can't
especially
necessarily predict.
if the Mets lock down 2 big time pitchers. All of a sudden you see some other teams frantically panicking that they've got to make a deal on a starter because they have to get a starter, and that price goes up. I can see that.
So what about Cease?
I don't have Cease on the list, mostly because I just couldn't figure out where he's going. He's definitely getting moved, but I couldn't figure out where he's landing.
I have Cease going to Boston.
It'd be a good fit for him.
He would. He's got
Be
the
a great-
beard and everything.
Yep,
Like,
gotta
yeah.
be
They
a
love
great
that.
fit to pair with Crochet.
Yeah.
Type of pitch type, fastball type would be a great pair. And I could see them being able to lock him up also.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and
I mean, they won't be able to extend him on the second half, but
and they were thrown
off-season.
into a bad spot with Walker Buehler, which I knew was coming. They paid him, thought, hey, if this guy could be our 2 or 3, great. And he looks like their number 7 right now. So, not a great spot to be. But I could also see Boston taking after this year and just completely eating his contract and sending him on his way for the remainder of things, and see slotting in there into the spot where they thought that Buehler was going to land.
yeah. Did you have Joe Adele?
I did not.
The only thought I had, and I don't know that it actually works roster wise, I had him going to Kansas City, but that was before Grichuk moved.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So they could still do it because they need offense so desperately, but I don't know that that would work out. Now San Diego is another option in my mind for him, but
Yeah, I could see that.
yeah,
Especially if they miss out on Stephen Kwan.
Yeah. The fun name for me now is also, where does Marcelo Ozuna actually end up? Like, legitimately.
Yeah.
Because, like, I started thinking about that. Like, he would, as crazy as it sounds, he'd be a heck of a player in Houston.
Especially with
Really bad
Alvarez
year,
down.
though.
But with Alvarez, you're not sure he's going to come back. It gives you a potential DH spot. Not that you want to put him in left field, but with the short left field,
True.
it does help out a little bit. I wonder, and this is just me, because Atlanta's starting to lose control of some of their younger guys.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're Houston, if you could find a way, and this is going to hang on if Alvarez can legitimately come back and play or not.
Sure.
Okay. Because if you're thinking that he's potentially going to be shut down for the season,
You're not going to know that in the next week, though.
they know on the inside.
You think so?
Yeah, they know one
Fair.
way or another
Fair.
by the trade deadline, because they're going to make some decisions based on that.
What?
And so if he's down for a longer period, not saying he can't come back for the playoffs, but
Yep.
to make sure you stay, do you talk to Atlanta and go, is there a world in which we can get Ozuna and Ozzy Albies from you?
I think there's definitely a world for that.
Because Ozzy Albies cost like $1 million.
Well, I was looking earlier, and it's like after the year, he has like a $7 million team option or something. Like,
Right.
they could eat that up
Easiest
easily.
contract of all time.
Right.
And you're getting an
how
all-star
much Fetty is
caliber
making right
Switch hitter.
Like,
right. Switch hitter
Wow.
that plays second base.
yeah.
So then you could
Dude, that's
essentially.
that's a creative, solid one.
Well, and the piece is, if you
Wow.
like Albies that much, you're going to have to pay him within the next 2 years.
Right.
You know, depending on how things are going to work out, that you have Ronald Acuna's contract coming.
Right.
So if you truly, and Spencer Strider both, and then, you know, slot in whoever else, you know, they got some young contracts coming up within the next few years, which Albies will be in that same group. I like that.
guys, are we close to Atlanta having to blow it up?
I don't think they're going to blow it up, but I think they're. I will. You said something the other week that really got me started thinking about Atlanta.
Yeah.
When you talked about the fact that they could potentially move Murphy because
Yep.
they do love Baldwin.
Yep.
And I've been watching because Ozuna hasn't been playing
Yeah.
because they've been DHing one or the other.
Sure.
So obviously Ozuna it's very clear he's going to get moved. Now,
Yeah.
depending on
Yeah.
who, I don't know.
Sure.
And that's what got me thinking about, like, okay, Ozzy Albies' contract is about to come up. They're going to have to pay him one way or another, capitalize on his value,
Sure.
get something out of the deal. Because you might be, from Atlanta's standpoint, you might be able to pull a couple of their younger guys that are like DeZenzo and what's the kid that's playing second base right now? I forget his name.
In
that
Atlanta?
in Houston that they just brought up.
I
Had that
don't
good
remember.
run. I
don't know.
forget
You're
his
the one
name.
that watches them.
I know. I forget his name.
It's not Cam Smith you're talking about.
No. He's in right field. He's not going anywhere. But it might get someone like that. Or
Yeah.
maybe there's another pitching prospect that Atlanta admires a little bit more that they could pull from that. And it helps Houston in the immediate. Because
Yep.
we all recognize Houston's going to have to blow it up here soon, too.
Yep.
I mean, that's just.
That's what's kind of crazy about some of these teams. These dynasties are like really close to the Phillies, close to the end.
Right.
Houston's close to the end.
And
Padres.
so it gives you a little bit, like maybe it extends your run a few years where
Yep.
you can hang in the West and potentially still capitalize on that with some of the younger pitching like
Yep.
Hunter Brown,
Yeah.
capitalize while he's really good.
Yeah.
And so that, that was just for me. Like I started looking at that because I'm like, that's I look at Atlanta probably staying pat more. I think there's a world that Murphy does get moved. I just don't know to who.
San Diego. They've got
Yeah.
2 old catchers that I think they could very easily move off of at least one of those contracts. Houston calls them up and works out a 3-team deal that Martin Maldonado goes back to Houston
and
again.
surges in the playoffs.
Would be the
You're right.
most normal thing ever.
Correct. San Diego, I think Murphy can make a lot of sense out there.
So I have Murphy going to the Cardinals.
Interesting. Okay.
and us sending Tink Hens for him.
Okay.
What are you doing with your other 15 catchers?
Well, the
Converting
two,
them to outfielders.
Yeah.
I'm just
Pozo?
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, the two we
You don't
have
put him
now
in center
suck.
field.
I sent you guys Paez.
Paez has already
Cervantes.
played second base. I mean,
Well, Pozo was at first today.
There you
Yeah,
go.
and I have Paez getting sent down for it. I think it's a wish, but I think Murphy ends up going to the Cardinals.
That'd be a
That
fun
would
one.
be my.
They
like,
wanted him.
yeah.
Yep.
And they
Yeah, they
missed
did.
out on him.
And he'll be cheaper. 'cause
Right.
Atlanta wants to get rid of him.
Well, and he's exactly the type of guy that
And
the
there's a lot of
Cardinals
money
would look
attached.
for is like a guy that's an elite defender, or at least in the past has been, that
That's the
has some
pop in his bat.
power. in
And
his
he
bat.
likes hitting in Busch Stadium, apparently.
Oh, what? Absolutely. He raked us in the
Yeah.
last series.
But if you're making, I mean, that may be more of an off-season deal, potentially. I mean,
Atlanta's got to go
Cardinals-
sell right now.
correct, and that's just what exactly are they
Like,
moving?
it's-
Who knows?
and they need
Miami
pitching.
has moved past them in the division. That's what's crazy.
Imagine if Fetty could have held on for a week, and it was Fetty for Murphy.
That would have never happened, but that would have been. I would like that'd been
Guys,
Moselak's
everybody's
greatest
hurt.
move ever.
We need to pitch. Who we
Right.
send Murphy? I don't know.
Right. That would
All
have been
right,
the greatest
this guy's got
move
a
ever.
7 ERA.
Perfect.
We
Sold.
need
It's
somebody.
exactly what we need.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw a name out there for a Cubs starter that I think they're gonna go after,
Okay.
and I think they're actually gonna get. I have Joe Ryan going to Chicago.
Joe Ryan is who I hope the Cubs get, but
I
I'm
don't.
afraid Minnesota does
Nope.
not move off of.
Okay, so
and that's why they
Minnesota's
land
not-
with Sandy. But
Okay,
if
So-
Minnesota goes full sale mode and sends Byron Buxton to LA,
that would
Joe
be the-
Ryan would be my first call if I'm the Chicago Cubs.
I think that's going
because
to be the first call for quite a few teams.
quite a few people, but I think
the
thing
Cubs,
is,
I think, will pay a steep asking price,
Yes.
and Owen
I
Casey
agree.
is going to be an
In
intriguing
Minnesota.
prospect
He's
for
gonna
Minnesota.
be in Minnesota.
yeah,
if
and that's
the
my
case.
thing. Of all the teams that need an elite starter, Boston and Chicago are the two that would pay
Yeah.
and can pay, and I just don't think Boston is going to pay as much as Chicago would.
Yeah, I mean,
Boston has a lot more time.
because of the control, that's the only reason why
Yeah.
I think Ryan stays in Minnesota.
Fair.
That's it. The player I have that I think Chicago should target and get is Zach Gallen from Arizona,
Don't hate that either.
because I think that he is kind of similar to your pitching coach
Yeah.
and Mark Pryor, and that would be electric come playoff
Yeah.
time to be able to pair him up. I think he's had a resurgence here as of late.
Yeah, that's
he's had a
true.
good couple last starts.
And so I think it could really catapult that pitching staff up.
I don't hate
And it's
that.
not
The-
going
I
to
don't
cost
hate
as
that.
much
True.
because
True.
it's an expiring contract.
True. There's something about Gallen that just screams Arizona doesn't move this guy.
Former Cardinal.
You know what I mean? Like
That's the other
they're all over
selling
the
point.
place. Yeah, there's just something about Gallen that just screams Arizona's not moving this guy. He's going to be the one pitcher they hold on to, and Merrill Kelly ends up being the guy that they end up moving.
Yeah, I think Kelly's gone regardless.
I don't think they move them both. I just don't.
I think
Don't
now
get
that
me
they've
wrong.
decided
I think
to sell,
they should.
they are.
I think they should, but I don't think they will because they are down already 2 of their starting pitchers off of their roster.
yeah, but if they send Suarez to Seattle, they're gonna
It's
get one.
they're selling, and that's why I say I
that
think
depends
it's-
what they're getting, right? Are
Right.
they getting prospects?
If they
or
get
are they
pitching-
getting,
Logan Gilbert shows
if they can
up
get
and-
Gilbert, then I would 100%
Be so mad.
calling for
Yeah.
Gallen because they'd probably sell him for nothing at
Yeah.
that point. So
Yeah, that's just I think ultimately that's the move that Chicago ends up making
Yeah.
because he's pitching better in my opinion
Yeah.
this year than Alcantara is.
agreed,
Yep,
he is.
very much so.
And then I think that forces again. I'm like the domino effect guy. I think that's then what forces the Mets to go. We've got to do something.
Sure.
Then they go to Miami and go.
Splash on Sandy.
We want Sandy. What's it gonna take? You've got it.
Yeah.
And then they want to outdo the Cubs.
Yeah.
And so that's when they call San Diego
For
and say,
Cease.
"Hey, what's it
Former
going to
Cub
take
prospect,
to get
yeah.
right? What's
Yeah.
it going to take to get Cease?"
Now, in my dream world, and I think this is a dream world, they get Murphy, but they also get Joe Ryan and send him. Who's the catcher in AAA? I'm forgetting his name.
Who's that?
For the
For St.
Cardinals?
Louis,
Which one? The
not Bernal, the other one. Travis? No. They
Crooks?
send him. Yeah, they send Crooks
Crooks.
plus some stuff to get Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
So then we have catching depth. Bernal's got another couple of years. That's a dream world scenario.
I think if St. Louis called and said, "Hey, I'll give you Tink Hentz, Jimmy Crooks, and maybe let's throw in what's his name, the outfielder, Davis."
Chase Davis.
And you give us Joe Ryan, they'd be like, yes, we'll do it right now.
That's an overpay.
No, I don't think so.
2 years
Yeah.
of Joe Ryan?
Yeah.
That's
Because
that's an overpay.
to me, I'm banking on the fact that Bloom is as good as he is, on paper. And at that point, you're re-signing Joe Ryan probably
Yes.
this offseason.
I agree.
To a contract extension.
He gets the extension that you were hoping to give, or like that Sonny Gray got.
Yeah.
Because he's going to become, top 2.
Oh,
maybe
he's
top
not
1.
a free agent until 28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 2 more Arb years.
Yeah. So you've got time.
He's going to be expensive.
That's why I say it's going to take more than
But
just
I
a couple
don't
players.
think you're far off on saying that Minnesota may be getting close to that it's time to sell mode, because they're watching already a Detroit team that is clearly ascended, a Cleveland team who may or may not be there, and a Royals team that's definitely going to be ascending in the next couple of years, where they're looking at, they've got some good all-star type players, but they're all on the upper end of their primes. And they still have a little bit of value, so you might as well cash them in.
Yeah.
You may have to eat part of Correa's contract at some point.
Oh, they're going to have to, because it's an absurdly terrible contract.
It's super
I'm
heavy,
looking
but
at it right now. It's ridiculous.
But I'd make that deal if I was in Minnesota. If
They-
St. Louis called with that deal, I would make that deal all day.
Right.
Minnesota and the San Diego are really in the same bubble to me. They have vets that are really, really overpaid, and they have yet to be able to really build correctly around them.
The difference I see with San Diego is San Diego has shown they will go spend money, and they've done this for the last 10 years
by far. I'm just saying their place in the
I could see
in
it.
the competition window.
I could see it. That's why I'm seeing San Diego more on the window of they're trending towards the Philadelphia. They realize their window's closing, but they think there's still a window there type of deal. Versus we're going to sell everything. Cease is probably gone unless someone just. The only offers they get are just ridiculously low. Like, I don't think they're just going to let him walk out the door for a Fetty type of deal. But I think they would like to move Cease
I want Cease so
if
bad
they
too.
could. If the Cubs can get Joe Ryan, I don't even know who Sandy Alcantara is.
Right.
So Joe Ryan is the type of guy that I would love to slot as our ace.
See, I told Tim this.
What's
I don't know
crazy
that
is
I
he's
would
a number
even
3 in Minnesota.
Right. I don't even know that I would want Alcantara. I
In
would
St.
rather
Louis?
I would rather take like an Edward Cabrera.
Yeah.
It's going to
just gonna be
cost
more
a little bit
expensive,
more because the control.
And
He's
so my
younger.
thing, I thought about that, but then my thing was, if I'm going to spend, I'm going to go after Joe Ryan.
I agree.
Spend a
Like
little
I
bit
would,
more and just get
I
Joe
would
Ryan.
say Joe Ryan is the peak. If I can swing the deal, like I said, if you send those 3 players,
You know who I wanted?
yeah.
Crochet. That's who
Yeah.
I wanted real bad.
If you're gonna send those 3 players from St. Louis, it doesn't hurt you in the long term because you
Correct.
have replacements for
Correct.
all
Sure.
of those guys.
Yep. As soon as Ryan gets here, I'm locking him up.
Right. I'm locking him up, and you've already got your draftees that you drafted pitching wise.
Yep.
That can slide in.
You imagine.
Catching wise, you've already got Bernal who's on the rise.
Murphy signed.
Right. If Murphy comes over, yeah. But you got Bernal who's on the rise, who's
Tatis
looking
is in the offseason.
gonna kind
Can
of
you see what I'm thinking right now?
Gosh, you guys are turning into a Cardinals talk show.
Yeah, right?
I'm sorry.
No, but then I mean, even you talk about Chase Davis going. You've got other outfielders like Baez is starting to show. So like it hurts, but it doesn't necessarily like devastate your system.
Yeah.
So if Joe Ryan, like I know we've talked, Toronto, it's going to be expensive for them, and they may not have the prospects, but are they seeing this as one of those years that they just throw it in and go in now and go get Joe Ryan, and he can become your pitcher of the future. Gosman and those guys, those aren't the pitchers of the future with Guerrero and that squad coming through. They're definitely ascending up in the AL right now. I mean,
yeah, I this for Toronto team specific. I have 3 people they should be eyeing, and that is Luis Severino.
Hey, that's on my list too.
Yep.
Zach
Severino.
Gallen, and then Mitch Keller from Pittsburgh. Those
Keller's
are the
on
3
mine.
guys that I think from the pitching side. And then positionally for them, I had Suarez listed. They
Sure.
need to make that inquiry. If they can't get him, look at maybe like a Willie Castro.
Yep.
That is that, these are like B tier players that'll just help. And then Ramon Laureano to go out in the outfield
I could
for
see
them
that.
as,
That's
just
decent.
an opportunity. That would, I think, keep them where they are and move them forward just a little bit. That's barring they don't make a big splash
Sure.
with a household A-list player name.
Sure.
So I had Severino going to Toronto.
That deal makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Also, do you have Severino on your list?
I don't have him moving. Probably should have, but I don't have him moving on my list.
So the last name that I'll throw out there, then we can hear if you guys have it. Bader.
Yes.
We haven't really talked about him. I have him going to Philly, and he's the outfielder in Philly.
Okay.
I honestly, as funny as it sounds, I think he ends up in New York because he loves New York. That's where he's from.
He does love
Which
New York.
one?
The Yankees.
Oh.
I think he fits the center field spot for them quite well, and gets to play there. And he mashes lefties, so he gives them a great opportunity in the playoffs. If they start getting healthy, get some.
You said the Mets?
No, the Yankees.
The Yankees.
Gives him some help. I don't think he goes back to the Mets. He already played for the Mets.
Played for the Yankees too.
Yeah, I know, but I think the Yankees are willing to bring him back once again.
Yeah.
Just because I think it'll be a low ask, fills the need that they have come playoff time.
Yeah.
They can rotate him and Bellinger depending on.
Well, I was thinking him and who's the lefty center fielder?
Grisham.
Grisham, yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Grisham would be
You could rotate
platoon.
them back and forth depending on the.
That's pretty solid, actually.
Yeah, depending on the pitching, and he's accustomed to being that bench role player
Yeah.
type of spot. So that's why I think ultimately he ends up in New York because it's not going to cost him
Yeah.
anything.
2 weeks ago, I had Bader going to St. Louis, actually, but that has since.
Ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed. Do you have Bader?
I do not have Bader going
Don't have
anywhere.
Bader going anywhere. Okay, you guys throw out any names that we missed.
So the only name that I have on here, I mean, aside from there's a ton, really there's 2 names I have, but there's a ton of players that obviously we're not going to mention that are going to get moved
Sure.
because they're B tier
Part of the
type
deal,
things,
too.
right? But the 2 other players that I think have some really intrigue is Carlos Santana from Cleveland,
Like that.
and then also Mason Miller from the Athletics. He throws a wrench into a lot of people's plans.
Yeah.
If he becomes available as a relief closer thing, because then it's just one more closer that's in the mix, because you're already talking about Clase, Duran, Helsley, Bednar. I mean, you got a lot of names on that list as closers. Mm-hmm. And if Mason Miller becomes available in that regard as well.
Man, I can't imagine the Athletics doing that.
I have a hard
Just
time
'cause they're
seeing
so
them doing
weird.
it in the season. Off season, I can see, because there was already a ton of speculation around him last year.
Yeah.
Not saying it's not going to happen now. I will say, if I'm Philadelphia and I hear Mason Miller's on there, I'm super excited, not because I want him, but because that means that
Price is
Clase and Duran and maybe Helsley, those guys aren't going to cost quite as much.
Right. And it's just a funny thing, because your closers of that magnitude always tend to garner more
Yeah.
at the trade deadline than they do in the off season.
That's fair.
He's not a free agent until 2030.
I know.
Some team is going to have to pay.
Right. And that ultimately,
He's still pre-harb.
I think ultimately, I don't think he goes anywhere.
Okay.
But I think
Keep an eye on it.
keep an eye on it, because I think it's a name that'll start to pop up more and more as we get closer.
Yeah, it would be interesting because I give him the Brendan Donovan treatment, even though he's way more valuable. But if someone's going to offer you this, you can't say no to it.
Right.
But it is the Athletics, and nobody knows what's going on.
And so on the flip of that, Carlos Santana, I think, makes absolute sense in Boston.
Yeah.
At first base. It's not in division, so you don't have to pay the extra tax to pull him.
Yeah.
It just, it screams something that I think Boston could do at a low cost, not going to cost them a lot of their primary prospects.
Yeah.
Gives them a solid defensive first baseman that has a knack to show up in big games.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the Athletics roster breakdown, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 players that are on the MLB roster that are pre-ARB.
Right.
So they are like some pitching away from contending for a long time.
Well, some of those guys are
Which makes me
legit
think
all-star type players, too.
There's a lot of them.
So,
which makes me think Miller's not going anywhere. Just because.
Right. I agree. Like if you were to tell me to bet on it, my bet would be he stays.
Yeah.
And
But I'm
not including Butler in that list because he's got a contract.
The name is going to start to surface. Just like Rooker's name's going to surface.
100%.
But it's going to cost.
I thought about Booker because they probably wouldn't mind getting rid of that money. Same as Severino.
Right. But it's going to cost a team to get him.
Understandably.
So.
I was looking at, it's kind of I think would be an under the radar deal, but it would be Charlie Morton. Morton's actually got under a 3 ERA since May.
He pitched against the Cardinals.
And so, great.
We do that.
I actually see an division deal with Toronto on him. They like these old pitchers, but they need pitching depth big time. And he's a guy who's got a ton of playoff experience. And is not going to cost anything. So Toronto would have more spending money to go cash in on somebody else. I don't think they're sold enough on their starting pitching to be like, oh, we don't need a Charlie Morton type of guy.
for the innings and everything.
Yeah, correct. He'll eat innings.
Yeah.
The only name that intrigues me the most, but he's not going to go anywhere, is O'Neal Cruz. Because I think the Pirates are just going to ask the world for him.
But I think he's one of those guys that okay, I can't turn this down.
I'm just trying to picture where he's
that
going
might be
because of how much of the
I could see the Dodgers play that game.
Yeah.
Because he's a left-handed bat that puts him in center field. Now, I wouldn't say is a solid defensive center field upgrade.
That's why he won't go to the Yankees.
Right.
I could see him on the Mets, though.
Man, that would be fun. But it's going to cost. And that's ultimately, I think he's an off-season deal versus an in-trade deadline.
Unless they splash for Stephen Kwan, move Kwan to center field and move O'Neal over into one of the corners and just tell him to figure it out here. We just need your power is all we need.
Cruz goes to Cleveland or Kwan goes to Pittsburgh?
Kwan goes to the Dodgers. Sorry.
Oh, and the Dodgers
Cruz ends up going to the Dodgers as well.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I would not want to see
the Dodgers. The Dodgers have the best A team and B team.
Correct.
Right.
And so whichever one's hurt, they
it's
just
so irritating.
swap,
it out.
and it's just like, okay. So you're just going to own all the players in MLB?
So, I mean...
Because I'm still a fan of pulling O'Neal Cruz from the outfield, putting him back in his traditional spot in the infield, just not at shortstop, at third base.
Him at third base,
I want him at third base because I think he will
Which is
thrive.
why I originally thought he was going to the Yankees over Suarez. But again, McMahon threw all of that.
See, I thought Key Brian Hayes was going to the Yankees because I thought they were going to miss out on Suarez. They were going to gamble on his potential and the fact that he is a lockdown defender.
Yeah.
So I agree now. I mean, now knowing the information that we have, but at the time when I was first drafting everything, I didn't think they cared a lick about defense because it showed for a long time.
100%.
And Cruz would be a nasty hitter in Yankee Stadium.
Absolutely.
Just
low line drives would get out in a heartbeat.
He may kill some kid out there in the front row.
Over and over. Imagine a home run derby, Cruz in a home run derby in Yankee Stadium. That'd be wild.
Would be nasty.
Be a fun one.
Anybody else?
Go get him Houston. Give it up. Get Cruz. Put him in Houston.
He would be great in Boston. Imagine pesky pole line drives.
The other, I guess, kind of big name you've heard several times would probably be Merrill Kelly.
I couldn't figure out where he goes.
Where he lands at, and I'm kind of the same way. I
can see him going to the Padres. I can see him going to Boston.
I think he lands on one of the low wild card teams.
Yeah.
Like that they miss out on everybody else, and it's all that's left.
Slot him into
like San Francisco screams. Like that would be a move that San Francisco makes.
I could see Detroit taking a flyer on him.
He's got he pitched in the World Series.
Yeah.
He pitched great, so he's got postseason
and
experience.
he pitched in the World Baseball Classic too.
Yeah,
Texas is such an interesting team. I just don't know what they're going to end up doing.
They just need.
They could splash big or not do anything at all.
It'd be interesting.
And here's the thing that we're taking out of consideration for Texas. This is an odd year for Bruce Bochy.
True.
Right.
True.
He figures it out. Right. Oh, man.
All right, guys.
That'd be crazy.
Leave us some comments about, our trade predictions if you got any predictions, and we'll see what happens in the next 3 or 4 days because everybody's probably going to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because
nobody's ending up where we wanted them to be.
Right.
All right. See you.